What's up, everybody? You know, if it wasn't for that goddamn rock and roll music, I swear, that rock and roll music creates bad people. If you listen to rock and roll, you're a bad person. You know, in the 50s and 60s, that was normal. I mean, that was, you know, Elvis Presley was considered, you know, satanic. And, so I really, you know, was raised on this idea that, because when I was a kid in the 80s, heavy metal was the big thing. And Black Sabbath had kind of paved the way for metal. And when I was about 11 or 12 years old, I was into rap. I was into stuff like, everything, you know. I liked MC Hammer, you know, NWA and all that kind of rap stuff. But I also liked Rat. Rat was one of my favorite bands. You know, I liked Twisted Sister. I liked Iron Maiden. I got into Anthrax. And all this heavy metal during this time, you know, the 80s were kind of this fresh burst of metal. And I started hearing people talk about it as if it was a repeat of the 50s and 60s. How the rock and roll generation had got so many parents all upset about music, thinking music was causing the corruption of the kids, that it was the music's fault that their kids weren't listening. It never had anything to do with parenting. It was always the music's fault. And so when the 70s came and rock got a little harder, you know, it was the same thing all over again. Then the 80s, and then the metal came, and then the parents would say, you know, I was really into metal, and I wore the heavy metal shirts, and I had long hair and everything. And all my friends' parents thought I was the bad influence. You know, come to find out that I get along well with my friends' parents. It's not like they just didn't know me. You know, they were judging me upon the way I looked and the music I listened to. And so I told myself, you know, back then that I said, there's no way I'm going to be one of these crusty old bastards that judges kids. And I never really got into video games that much. I never had a PlayStation or anything. I was really into Atari and Nintendo when I was a kid. Played a lot of Mario Brothers and stuff. But they were all pretty innocent. Nowadays, they're pretty brutal. And I told myself I wasn't going to be one of those guys that was just going to point the finger at video games. So the example that I want to use is Grand Theft Auto, I guess. Because that's a perfect example of a game that's super violent, totally unnecessary, and could, under the right circumstances, cause a person to perhaps act out. You know, I'm not saying that the video game would cause a person to act out. I'm saying this is my whole point of the video here, is that it's not the music and it's not the video games that cause the people to do things that they do or be the way they are. It's just that the way a person is causes them to be more attracted to particular types of music or video games. Let me give you an example. A person who's already violent by nature is going to seek out a video game where they're shooting people. You know, some people really enjoy Grand Theft Auto, going and carjacking and shooting people in video games. I can't do it because I find it to be just, I don't know, I don't feel any like real satisfaction in shooting innocent people in a video game. It doesn't make sense to me. But I understand that there's two ways, that it doesn't mean that each person that's into that is a violent person. Because it's something that the kids grew up with. It's something they relate with. So let me take the music for an example as a band that, Insane Clown Posse, ICP. I am about the only person I know that listens to ICP. My brother showed me one of their albums when we were younger, and I got into them, and I love ICP. Those guys are funny as hell, and I went to one of their shows a couple of years ago, and you know, they're throwing Faygo all over the crowd. It's a crazy sticky mess. It's a big party. It's a big event. I don't walk out of there violent or wanting to hurt people, nor when I listen to a song about chopping people with hatchets do I want to go out and chop anyone with a hatchet. Nor do I feel a satisfaction in someone else chopping someone with a hatchet. That's not the point of the music. It invokes a particular emotion, a ha 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 kind of emotion, or you know, something that you're living vicariously through someone else's story, for example. If you read a book about a You know, a lot of people may say that these shows, you know, that these video games are violent and the music's violent. These are the same people that sit down and watch CSI in Miami. I mean, you know, you sit around and watch cop shows all day. How do you think that affects you? It's the same type of thing. You miss all the little points within the shows about how the cops are always trying to get one over, trying to cheat the system, trying to, you know, they can't break down the bad guys, so they go above and beyond legal means, and everybody goes, yeah, that's right, get the criminal, forgetting that these are your rights being violated in this show. Anyway, it's not that they're living, watching this person actually suffer, they're living vicariously through an event they're watching. Likewise, when you listen to music that's like a story, you're also living vicariously. And playing a video game that's violent, you're living vicariously through that character, although it doesn't mean you're a violent person. I like video games. I used to love playing Mortal Kombat, stuff like that. I was very fond of a video game called Red Dead Redemption. Actually, my son, I bought him a PlayStation for his 16th birthday, and when my middle son when he was a baby, he slept all the time, and I couldn't go anywhere, so I sat at home and I played Red Dead Redemption. You ride around on a horseback in the Old West, and you go around to saloons and casinos, and you know, you're out in the country, you're riding your horse across the country, basically shooting people, you know. Sometimes I would go and get on the video game, and I'd go in there and I'd just, I had a sniper rifle, and I'd just sit there and I'd snipe people and just piss them off on a video game. And people calling through the headsets, oh, you asshole. Why did I do that? Was it to piss people off? No. It was to get a certain reaction, satisfaction. Nothing personal, nothing against the person, and nothing to get my violence out. That's not, it doesn't work that way. And so I guess all I want to really say is that people who think that video games are causing the problems of our society, or that music is causing the problems, need to look at their parenting maybe a little bit instead, because children who attach themselves to particular negative attributes of arts do so because of who they are, and they're not who they are because of the music they listen to. They listen to the music because of who they are. And so let's try to not be one of those grumpy old men or women who say, oh, those rascals these days, you know. Children are always going to be exposed to new things that we don't quite understand, and they are going to be influenced by their environment. But kids are pretty smart, and I don't think many kids really think that you can go out. I don't think carjacking has gone up since that video game came out. You know, I don't think hatchet murders have gone up since ICP started talking about hatchets. I don't, you know, I just don't see it. The arts and the creation of the arts come to fill a void within society, or fill a desire or a demand. Okay, so if there's no demand, then there's no art, but the art's going to fill that demand. So the demand's already there. People want this. It's not a matter of we're putting this music or this art out and fooling people into liking it. It's completely different than that. So, you know, those who may have listened to some of my old music, I wrote a song about having sex with cats. Complete joke, obviously. I had fun writing it, and I had fun making it up and playing it on my keyboard and everything. Why? I don't know. Just because I felt like it. From the outside, a person may think, "Oh my God, this guy's disturbed. He's disgusting. He's perverted." I'd never really do it. I'd never really have sex with my cats. Give me a break. But you know, writing a song about it is funny to me. And I find my sense of humor is kind of sick and twisted, but it's not based in anything real. You know, these aren't hidden inhibitions or whatever, but it's, God, I hope not. So music is going to fill that demand, and so is television, and so are video games. They're going to fill the demand that we make. So that's what I got. Hope you're all doing well today.